affirmation today, our message affirmation is, I am open to the peace of God within. And I certainly hope that each and every one of you are. A lot of times we go through life and we hit a bump. We hit that financial challenge or that health challenge or that challenge with our loved ones or relations or neighbors or coworkers, and we allow ourselves to get anxious, upset, worried. We don't open ourselves to that peace of God within, to know that all of that can be resolved, that all of that is just really, a drop in the bucket in the reality of life, because we have the peace of God within to comfort us, to take care of us, to resolve all those issues. And I know I'm as guilty of that as anybody. I think I've mentioned over the last few months, some things in my business life have been a little tumultuous, not as easygoing as I'd like. And you get to that point where there's a need coming and you don't see right away the resources to take care of it. And so every once in a while, I do momentarily get seized with some anxiety of, oh my God, how's that? And I have to stop and let myself know, and even go back and I'll stop and I'll say some affirmations. God is the source of my supply. God is the source of my supply. And I feel that peace of God within, and it calms me. But I even need to be more open and receptive to the fact that it's always there, to never let that anxiety even become a part of you. Because, of course, nobody wants to be doubted, and least of all God does he want to be doubted, because he wants you to know that he has you covered in every circumstance, in every situation. And we can liken a lot of this to things that happen to children. Actually, I'm kind of going through a situation now, and it's a challenge because we know now that we're older. If we could just somehow pick her up and, move her 10 years ahead and say, probably now you and your mom are best friends. See how unimportant that is. Don't do these awful things to yourself. But of course, she's a child. She's not in a situation where she can see and understand that. She's not in a place where she's open to the peace of God within. And so we can be childlike, just like I was talking about, in our daily lives, in our circumstances, in our situations, our relations with our neighbors, our coworkers, our children, our financial challenges, and our health challenges. Sometimes we forget to stop and realize that we have the peace of God within, that we're going to look back on this time and wonder why we ever gave any power to that circumstance or that situation to alter our lives or alter our way of thinking or alter and take away from eventually our daily joy and happiness, because that is one of the things that we know as truth students that we're here for. We're here to live lives of great joy, happiness, and prosperity. And as children of God and as truth students, we know that that's what we are here to receive. So we need to realize that we are open to the peace of God within. And I think this is a common theme that I've been talking about for the last several weeks. And as I was preparing this week, I was thinking, oh gosh, here I am on that topic again. But it's so important, because I think we can remember back being children. Nobody said to us, 8 times 5 is 40, and then went on. I mean, we sat and we wrote out our multiplication table umpteen times, because it's with repetition that we learn. Even years later, when I was in college, I remember when I was taking Spanish, we had an instructor, and he would have us go to the back of the chapter and say, okay, this is your vocabulary. And early on in the semester, he had some physical accident or something, and a substitute came in. And this woman was really incredible, because she made us write everything out. I want them 10 times, the word and the definition in English. And then she had this extra thing. She made us all go and buy these wooden colored pencils, because we had to do what she called the rainbow. So if the vowel was pronounced long, you colored it this way. If the D made the TH sound, or the T made the D sound, or whatever. Anyways, you had to do all this stuff, and it was over and over and over and over, and so repetitive. But you know what? That vocabulary I knew at the end of everything, because of the repetition, because of the repetition, because of the repetition. So we need to do that even as adults, as truth students, because a lot of us were learning a lot of this information for the first time, because we may have been raised in a different, more conservative or more conventional faith tradition, which didn't let us know that we had such things as the peace of God within. We thought perhaps that we were supposed to be upset and miserable here on earth so that we could enjoy life, on some other plane later on. But we know, and Scripture tells us that that's not the case, that we are all created in the image of God. God is perfect, therefore we are perfect. And God means for us to have lives of incredible joy and happiness and prosperity and health and wonderful, wonderful relationships with all the people in our lives, even those who don't quite come around to what we need. We know that we have the peace of God within, so we're not affected by even the snarkiest or the meanest people that we do encounter, because we do have that peace of God within, and we can overlook it, because just like that child who is taken to a place, 10 or 20 years in the future and looks back and sees how small that little altercations or those little arguments were and how unimportant it was. We, as adults and as truth students, need to realize that we're going to be in that place too. So our question this week: where do I turn in times of trouble? So as you're going through your chores and your daily routines and agendas, when you do come upon a trouble, ask yourself that question, or ideally know that you turn to God. You turn to God, that peace within. And God is with you and within you at all times. And we have access to this peace at all times. And we can do that through our prayers, through our meditations, through our affirmations. All these things combined or individually, however you like to use them. I know at times, of course, it's not very convenient to meditate, especially when you're driving down the freeway. So referring to a quick affirmation is a great way to bolster this faith and bolster this understanding that you do have the peace of God within to guide and direct you through even the most challenging circumstance or situation. Reach within, reach to God. It's all there for you. And the good news is that the answers to all of our problems, the comfort in our times of trouble, our consolation in times of sorrow, are all available from, and God is always with us and within us. The good news is that God is there for you. God is the peace within. So anytime that you get to a point where you are struggling with some circumstance, some situation, some challenge, something that seems like you're all alone, it's unbearable to go through, realize that you do have the peace of God within. And not the P-I-E-C-E, because God is very inclusive. You've got the whole God within. The whole God, the whole of God is with you and within you, and giving you the peace and the comfort that you need to get through this thing that we call life. So throughout the week, as you're going through your process and you stumble upon an issue or a circumstance or a situation that you find particularly challenging, just stop and realize that you do have the peace of God within, that this circumstance or this situation that may seem like a huge mountain is really just a little pebble for you to step on and crush, because you have that power within you of the peace of God.